Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I will show you how to customize the logarithmic axis in the .NET MAUI Cartesian Charts control. I will explain how to add a logarithmic axis to Cartesian charts and customize its interval, range, and base. You'll also learn how to invert and hide the axis. As you can see, this chart provides a visual representation of the growth of a product. Here, the y-axis of the chart is customized with logarithmic data, which means the data source contains lower and higher order magnitude values. First, I open an existing MAUI application where I have already configured the necessary chart namespace and added the MAUI Cartesian Charts control. If you want to learn how to add the chart to an app, I recommend watching the Getting Started video linked in the card. You can also download the Getting Started example from the link provided in the description below. To initialize the axis for the chart, you need to define the x-axis and y-axis collections. In this case, I want to bind a data source with two fields, year and profit. So, I'll add a category axis to plot the text values on the x-axis. In the y-axis collection, I'll add the logarithmic axis to plot the logarithmic values on the y-axis. Additionally, set the main title for the chart to Growth of a Product from 1995 to 2005. Now, let's proceed with populating data to visualize the growth of a product using a line series. To begin, create a new class named Model to represent the profit details. Once created, make this class public. Within this class, define two properties, year and profit. To generate the profit data, create another class named ViewModel and make it public. Within this class, define a new property named Data that will hold a list of profit details. Then, initialize the constructor and assign a list of profit details to the data property. To render series, navigate to the main page XAML file and set the ViewModel as the binding context for the content page. This allows the data to be accessible in the XAML. To visualize the data, add a line series to the chart and set its item source property to data. Additionally, map the data source fields, namely year to the X binding path and profit to the Y binding path. To enable the data label, set Show Data Labels to True. As you can see, the line series chart is rendered with the logarithmic values displayed on the vertical axis, and the main title is Growth of a Product from 1995 to 2005. Now, let me show you how to set the title for the chart axis. To do this, I'll add the title property for the logarithmic axis and define the chart axis title element. Inside this element, let me add the text property and set the y-axis title to Profit in dollars. Similarly, I'll add a title for the category axis. By setting these titles, the chart becomes easier to understand, as they provide clear labels and context for the information being conveyed. Next, let's explore how to customize the axis interval. By default, the interval is calculated based on the minimum and maximum values of the data provided, with a default value of 1. However, if you want to customize the interval on the logarithmic axis, you can define the interval property and set it to a desired value, such as 2. You can see that the interval between the axis labels is now customized on the vertical axis. Let's explore how to customize the axis range. For example, if you want to display the axis range from 1 to 1 million on the y-axis, you can set its minimum property to 1 and maximum property to 1 million. See that the axis range is customized on the y-axis, enabling you to better understand specific data ranges within the chart. Next, let's see how to customize the logarithmic axis base. By default, the axis base is set to 10. If you want to change it, you can define the logarithmic base property and set an appropriate value. In this example, I will set it to 5. Before running the application, remove the interval, minimum, and maximum properties. Now you can see that the axis base is customized on the vertical axis, providing a different scale for the logarithmic values. Next, let's explore how to invert and hide the logarithmic axis. Before we proceed, remove the logarithmic base property. To invert the logarithmic axis, define the is-inversed property in the y-axis and set it to true. You will notice that the logarithmic axis is now inverted, causing the points to be rendered from top to bottom on the vertical axis. If you want to hide the logarithmic axis, simply set its is-visible property to false. The vertical axis is no longer displayed in the chart. In this video, I have shown you how to add a logarithmic axis to the Cartesian Charts control and how to customize its interval, range, and base. I also showed how to invert and hide the axis. If you want to see a working example, you can download one from the GitHub link provided in this video's description. I have also included a link in the description where you can check if you qualify for our community license, which gives you a free license key for our entire .NET MAUI control suite. If you found this video useful, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.